Have you ever looked at someone doing the wrong things? Lying, cheating, hurting others, and somehow they're winning? They're successful, wealthy, respected. Meanwhile, you're trying to do the right thing, and life just feels harder. So here's the question that quietly unsettles so many of us. Why do bad people sometimes prosper? This is one of the most honest and uncomfortable questions in faith, because it challenges something we want to believe, that good is rewarded and evil is punished, quickly, clearly, fairly. But that's not always what we see. So today, we're going to explore this question deeply, not with easy answers, but with honesty, scripture, and reflection. Let's start with what's obvious. In the real world, people who cut corners often get ahead. People who manipulate others can rise to power. People who ignore morality sometimes gain wealth, influence, and status. And this isn't just a modern problem. Even in the Bible, this tension is acknowledged. In Psalm 73, the writer admits something shocking. He envied the arrogant, because they seemed to have everything. They were healthy. They were successful. They had no struggles like others. And he asks, essentially, is living a righteous life even worth it? That's a deeply human question. The Bible doesn't ignore this issue. It confronts it. First, it reminds us that prosperity is not always what it seems. What looks like success externally doesn't necessarily reflect what's happening internally. A person may gain the world, but lose peace, purpose, or their soul. Second, Scripture often emphasizes timing. In Ecclesiastes, we're told that life, under the sun, can feel unfair and unpredictable. But the biblical perspective stretches beyond the present moment. It suggests that justice is not always immediate, but it is ultimately real. And then there's this powerful shift in Psalm 73. The writer says everything changed when he entered the presence of God. He began to see that what looked like stable success was actually temporary. Philosophically, this question touches on something deeper. What do we mean by prosper? If prosperity only means money, power, or recognition, then yes, many bad people prosper. But if prosperity includes inner peace, a clear conscience, genuine relationships, a sense of meaning, then the equation changes. Because some forms of success are visible, and others are invisible. There's also the reality of free will. The world allows people to make choices, good or bad. And sometimes, those choices bring short-term rewards. But short-term gain and long-term fulfillment are not the same thing. Let's be honest about the doubts this creates. You might be thinking, if God is just, why allow this at all? Why doesn't he stop it immediately? Why does doing the right thing sometimes feel like a disadvantage? These are not weak questions. They're real ones. And one possible answer is this. If every wrong action were instantly punished, and every good action instantly rewarded, would we truly choose good, or would we just be reacting to consequences? Part of faith involves trusting that justice exists even when it's not visible in the moment. And that's not easy. Here's something worth sitting with. What if the real danger isn't that bad people prosper, but that we begin to define success the way they do? Because once that happens, we start measuring life by the wrong standards. We compare ourselves to people we wouldn't actually want to become, and slowly, without realizing it, we trade integrity for outcomes. But the deeper message of faith is this. Your life is not just about what you gain, it's about who you become. Because in the end, character outlasts success. And what seems like winning today may not be winning in the bigger picture. So, why do bad people sometimes prosper? Maybe because life, for now, allows freedom. Because success isn't always what it looks like. And because the full story isn't finished yet. But the real question might be this. What kind of person do you want to be, regardless of the outcome? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever struggled with this question? Have you ever felt frustrated seeing injustice go unpunished? Let's talk about it in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring deep, honest questions about faith like this, subscribe to Sacred Questions. Because sometimes, the most important answers begin with the hardest questions.